Senator Grassley.
Yes. Thank you, Director Mueller, for coming. My first question is about the letter authorizing targeted killing of Anwar Al-awlaki and another U.S. citizen. The reason I ask this question is I'm getting a lot of mail from Iowans wanting to know the authority for the United States to take that action, and I assume this letter gives that authority. Do you support Congress having a copy of that letter?
It really is not my, sir, it's not the role. It is whatever may have been developed would be developed by the Department of Justice. We would not have played a role in it. Some of our information may have been used if there was such a finding, but I ask that you perhaps direct that to the Department of Justice.
The Department of Justice settled a civil lawsuit for Dr. Hatfill for violation of the Privacy Act for leaking details of the investigation. Cost the taxpayers $6 million in settlement. I've repeatedly asked both the department as well as your agency to identify the individuals who leaked information on the investigation. I've been repeatedly told the investigation's ongoing, and I assume that's the excuse for not answering our information we've requested. In response to August 31st, 2011 letter on the Anthrax attacks, the Department of Justice informed me that the investigation is complete and that no criminal charges will be filed against those who leaked the information. Three questions. I'll give you all three of them. Were the individuals who leaked FBI agents or employees of the FBI? What, if any, administrative action did you take against these individuals if they were FBI agents or employees? And do these people still have their jobs if they're FBI employees?
Well, I know, Senator, and I appreciate your discussing this with me. These questions are more specific than the ones you raised when we met, and I would have to get back to you on it because it is specific to the FBI. I know there were other entities other than the FBI and the Department of Justice that had undertaken an investigation as well. So I will have to get back to you on that, and to the extent that the investigations were undertaken by entities in the Department of Justice, defer to the Department of Justice in terms of providing information. But to the extent that is specific to the FBI, I would have to get back to you on those questions.
My next question deals with sensitive interactions between FBI and other law enforcement agencies. And you probably know that sometimes you get accused, your agency does, of not playing well with other, meaning other law enforcement agencies. I'm sure you would agree that if we're busy fighting each other, then we're not fighting our real enemies. Recently, I've seen news articles about infighting between FBI and New York police. I was especially bothered by press reports of the FBI sources pointing out weaknesses of the New York Police Department terrorism case. At the same time, I'm hearing complaints about FBI's inability to cooperate with Department of Homeland Security, OIG, and border corruption investigations. These complaints sound as if the FBI is using kind of a Pac-Man mentality. Since the culture of an organization starts at the top, I'm concerned about what may be going on in management at FBI. So I want to assume that you would agree that FBI agents should not anonymously or publicly attack the New York Police Department. I'm sure that you're committed to having the FBI work with all appropriate partners in addressing border corruption. So this question, what are you doing to improve the FBI's working relationship with other law enforcement agencies, and how are you relaying that message to line agencies and supervisors? And whether it's by impression or whether it's fact, it doesn't matter. There's a feeling out there that it exists, so it's a problem for you.
Well, it is. I confess it has been a long-term problem with the FBI. In the wake of September 11th, we identified 10 priorities. 8 of them were programmatic priorities, as you can imagine: counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and cyber, and then on the criminal side, public corruption and the like. The ninth priority was collaboration with our federal, state, local, and international partners. And there were only 10 priorities. And the significance of that is that we understood that we could not be successful by our own, that our success is dependent upon our partnerships. And since September 11th, since I've been there, I think we have made substantial strides in working with state and local law enforcement. And if you do talk with the IACP or the national sheriffs or a number of the organization, major city chiefs, my hope is and expectation would be that they say there's been a substantial change and we work very collaboratively. I was as distressed as you and others to see the press reports anonymous of federal government persons talking about another prosecutor's and other agency's investigation, this being NYPD. I gave directions that that should not happen. And when I saw it happening, again, went back to give directions that to have it stop. I had Sean Joyce, who was the deputy, talk to Ray Kelly. I had talked to Ray Kelly. He gave me a call, and we have discussed this. It does not interfere. We understand it should not have happened. From our perspective, it should not have happened, but we still have a very good relationship with NYPD, particularly when it comes to addressing terrorism. We recognize, I have recognized that Ray Kelly has done a remarkable job in terms of protecting New York City from terrorist attacks, New York City being a principal target. And as I say, these things are unfortunate. I wish they didn't happen, but our relationship remains solid. Secondly, with regard to what is happening on the border in terms of the handling of public corruption cases within the DHS agencies, we seek to work with those partners that want to work with us in developing these cases. And we leave it up to the Department of Homeland Security to sort out the counterparts with whom we should work, understanding that public corruption on the border is a substantial issue, and those cases have to be addressed, and they have to be addressed swiftly. And we seek to do it with the Inspector General's office or the Internal Affairs, whichever entities would join with us in addressing that form of public corruption.